Imagine a country where terrorists control entire cities. That was Burkina Faso in 2022. But now, the military is fighting back with a new strategy. We'll show you the technology that's helping Burkina Faso reclaim its land from extremist groups. On September 26, 2022, Burkina Faso faced a terrible attack. A convoy of 207 vehicles was traveling from the capital to Djibo when Al-Qaeda terrorists ambushed them. The result was devastating. 37 people lost their lives and 70 truck drivers went missing. This attack showed how weak Burkina Faso's security really was. The ambush left the country in shock. People were scared and angry. They wanted to know why the government couldn't protect them. It became clear that terrorists had too much control over parts of Burkina Faso. The country needed a big change to fight back against these extremist groups. While the nation mourned, a bold response was brewing. Just 4 days after the devastating convoy attack, Burkina Faso would experience a dramatic shift in leadership that would change the course of its fight against terrorism. On September 30th, 2022, as the country was still reeling from the recent tragedy, a group of military officers led by Captain Ibrahim Traoré took swift and decisive action. They launched a coup that would reshape Burkina Faso's approach to national security. The operation began with Traoré's faction securing the state television station. This strategic move allowed them to control the flow of information and prepare for an important broadcast. But they didn't stop there. The coup plotters quickly moved to take over key military bases throughout the capital city. Their actions were carefully coordinated and executed with precision. Loyalists to the previous leader, Lieutenant Colonel Damiba, found themselves outmaneuvered and disarmed. The coup forces gained control of crucial armories and communication centers, effectively cutting off any potential resistance. The takeover extended beyond military installations. Important government buildings, including the Ministry of Defense and the Prime Minister's office, fell into the hands of Traoré's group with minimal resistance. The element of surprise worked in their favor, catching many off guard. The final and most significant target was the presidential palace. Using intelligence from sympathetic insiders, Traoré's forces successfully infiltrated this symbol of power. With this, the coup was complete and a new chapter in Burkina Faso's history had begun. Captain Ibrahim Traoré wasted no time in addressing the nation. He declared, "The hazardous choices of Lieutenant Colonel Damiba have progressively weakened our security system. In view of all these abuses, we have decided today, September 30th, 2022, to remove Lieutenant Colonel Damiba from state power in order to pursue our common ideal with all the people of Burkina Faso, namely the restoration of security and the integrity of our homeland." These words resonated with many Burkinabe who had grown frustrated with the ongoing security crisis. Traoré's promise to restore security and rebuild the military struck a chord with a population desperate for change. He acknowledged the critical shortages in weapons and equipment that had hampered previous efforts to combat terrorism, vowing to address these issues head-on. The public reaction to this sudden change in leadership was mixed but largely positive. Many citizens saw it as a necessary step to address the dire security situation. There was a sense of relief and hope that spread through the country. Government officials joined in, hailing the operation as a significant milestone in the fight against jihadist insurgency. Traoré's administration didn't just make promises, they took immediate action. One of their first major operations was breaking the jihadist blockade of Djibo, a city that had long been under siege. This successful mission not only provided much-needed supplies to the besieged city but also served as a powerful symbol of the new government's commitment to action. The success of this operation had a profound effect on national morale. It boosted confidence in the new administration's capabilities and gave people hope that real change was possible. For the first time in a long while, many Burkinabe felt that their country might be turning a corner in its fight against terrorism. This bold response to the security crisis marked the beginning of a new era for Burkina Faso. Captain Ibrahim Traoré had promised change, and now the world was watching to see if he could deliver on those promises. The fight against terrorism in Burkina Faso was far from over, but a new chapter had begun, one filled with renewed determination and hope for a more secure future. With the country in crisis, Captain Ibrahim Traoré knew he needed more than just determination to fight back against the terrorists. He needed weapons and lots of them. But where would Burkina Faso get the firepower to take on well-armed extremist groups? The answer came from an unexpected ally halfway across the world. China stepped up to support Burkina Faso in its time of need. When Captain Traoré's administration reached out for help, China responded quickly. They agreed to send several shipments of weapons and military supplies right away. This quick response from China showed just how serious the situation in Burkina Faso had become. The country needed help fast, and China was ready to provide it. But what exactly did these shipments contain? And how would they help Burkina Faso's military fight against the terrorists? The first deliveries from China arrived packed with modern weapons. Burkina Faso soldiers received new rifles and machine guns, giving them better tools to defend their country. Along with the guns came plenty of ammunition and other important military equipment. As soon as the weapons arrived, Burkina Faso's military leaders got to work. They quickly sent the new guns and supplies to soldiers fighting on the front lines. This fast action helped boost the fighting power of Burkina Faso's army almost overnight. Before these shipments, Burkina Faso's soldiers often found themselves outgunned by terrorist groups. The extremists had better weapons, making it hard for the army to protect people and take back control of the country. But with the new weapons from China, things started to change. The modern rifles and machine guns gave Burkina Faso's soldiers a fighting chance against the terrorists. Now, when they faced off against extremist groups, they had the firepower to fight back effectively. This helped level the playing field in the ongoing battle for control of the country. One of the biggest impacts of this new equipment was seen in the fight to break the terrorist blockade of Djibo. This city had been cut off by extremist groups, leaving its people without important supplies. But with their new weapons, Burkina Faso's army was able to fight through the blockade and bring help to Djibo. This successful mission did more than just help the people of Djibo. It showed everyone in Burkina Faso that things were changing. The army was getting stronger, and they were starting to win battles against the terrorists. This gave people hope that their country could become safe again. The quick delivery of these weapons also showed how well Burkina Faso's new leaders could work with other countries. Captain Traoré and his team managed to get the help they needed fast, proving they were serious about fixing the country's security problems. For the people of Burkina Faso, seeing their soldiers with new, modern weapons was a big deal. It made them feel like their country was finally fighting back against the terrorists who had caused so much fear and damage. The sight of well-equipped soldiers gave many people a new sense of pride and hope for the future. But getting new weapons was just the start. Burkina Faso's military leaders knew they needed to use these tools effectively to really make a difference. They began planning new operations, using their improved firepower to take the fight to the terrorists. With new weapons in hand, Burkina Faso's military was ready to take on its biggest challenge yet. The city of Djibo had been under siege for 18 months, cut off from the rest of the country by terrorist groups. People there were running out of food and hope. But Captain Traoré's new government had a plan to change that. On October 21st, 2022, a large group of soldiers and trucks set out from the capital. Their mission: to break through the terrorist lines and bring help to Djibo. This wasn't just about delivering supplies. It was about showing the whole country that things were changing. The road to Djibo was dangerous. In the past, terrorists had attacked many convoys on this route, but this time was different. The soldiers were ready to fight back with their new weapons. They moved carefully, always watching for any signs of trouble. As the convoy got closer to Djibo, everyone held their breath. Would they make it, or would the terrorists try to stop them? The soldiers stayed alert, ready for anything. Finally, after a long and tense journey, the convoy reached Djibo. The sight that greeted them was both heartbreaking and hopeful. Thousands of people lined the streets waiting for help to arrive. Many looked tired and hungry after months of shortages. But there was also joy and relief on their faces as they saw the trucks rolling in. The convoy brought more than just food. It carried hope for a city that had been cut off from the world. The trucks were loaded with grains, cooking oil, and special food for children who hadn't had enough to eat. As the supplies were unloaded, Soldiers took up positions around the city to keep everyone safe. This successful mission was more than just a delivery of food. It was a big win for Burkina Faso's new leaders. They had promised to make the country safer, and now they were showing they could do it. The news of the convoy's success spread quickly across the country. In the capital, people celebrated. Government officials called it an important step in the fight against terrorist groups. For the people of Djibo, the arrival of the convoy meant they could finally breathe easier. They had food to eat and a sign that they hadn't been forgotten. But the mission also sent a message to the terrorist groups. It showed that Burkina Faso's military was getting stronger and wasn't afraid to take them on. The battle for Djibo wasn't over yet. The convoy had made it through, but the city was still surrounded by dangerous areas controlled by terrorists. The soldiers who came with the convoy stayed behind to help protect the city. They knew that keeping Djibo safe and connected to the rest of the country would be an ongoing fight. This successful mission gave people all over Burkina Faso new hope. They saw that their new leaders were serious about fighting back against the terrorists. The convoy to Djibo proved that with the right planning and equipment, Burkina Faso's military could win important battles. As news of the successful mission spread, more people started to believe that things could get better. The government used this boost in morale to plan more operations against terrorist groups. They knew that breaking the siege of Djibo was just the beginning. There was still a lot of work to do to make Burkina Faso safe again. The battle for Djibo showed that Burkina Faso was entering a new phase in its fight against terrorism. With new weapons, determined soldiers, and a government committed to action, the country was starting to push back against the groups that had caused so much fear and damage. For the first time in a long while, many people in Burkina Faso felt like they had a real chance at peace and security. Burkina Faso's military had new weapons and success in breaking the siege of Djibo, but they still needed a way to find and stop terrorists before they could attack. The answer came from high in the sky. The country started using advanced drones to watch over its land and people. These weren't just any drones. Burkina Faso got some of the best drones in the world, including the Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2 and Akinci. These flying machines changed the way the country fought against terrorist groups. The Bayraktar TB2 drones are really good at watching large areas for a long time. They can fly for hours looking for any signs of danger. This makes it hard for terrorists to move around or plan attacks without being seen. The TB2 can also hit targets with great accuracy, which helps the military stop threats before they become bigger problems. But the real game changer was the Bayraktar Akinci drone. This drone is incredibly powerful and can fly very far. It can go over 10,000 kilometers, which means it can follow terrorists almost anywhere they try to hide. The Akinci is also very tough and can work in all kinds of weather, from very hot days to high up in the mountains. These drones gave Burkina Faso's military new abilities they never had before. They could now see what was happening in places that were hard to reach on the ground. This helped them make better plans and keep people safer. One of the best things about these drones is how accurate they are. They can hit small targets without hurting things or people nearby. This is really important when fighting in areas where regular people live. The drones help the military stop the bad guys without putting innocent people in danger. The drones also made the soldiers feel better about their work. Knowing they had these high-tech helpers in the sky gave them more confidence. It showed that Burkina Faso was serious about using the latest technology to protect its people. We saw how well these drones worked during an attack in Manila on June 1, 2024. When terrorists struck, the military quickly sent up their drones. The Akinci drone flew to the area fast, helping the soldiers on the ground know exactly what was happening. At night, the TB2 drones kept watching, making sure no terrorists could escape in the dark. During this operation, the drones did more than just watch. They helped guide soldiers to the right places and even hit some terrorist targets themselves. This mix of drones in the air and soldiers on the ground worked really well. It helped the military stop the attack and catch many of the terrorists. After the Manila attack, people could see how much these drones were helping. The military said, The swift and decisive actions of the air forces combined with the relentless pursuit of the ground forces have significantly weakened the terrorist networks operating in the area. The use of advanced drone technology combined with coordinated ground assaults has proven to be an effective strategy in combating these threats. These drones are now a big part of how Burkina Faso protects itself. They fly over the country every day, watching for any signs of danger. This constant watching makes it much harder for terrorist groups to operate. They never know when a drone might be looking at them from high above. With these eyes in the sky, Burkina Faso is better prepared to keep its people safe. The drones have given the country a new way to fight back against terrorism, making it harder for extremist groups to hide or plan attacks. This new strategy is helping Burkina Faso take back control of its land and protect its citizens. Burkina Faso's new drones were about to face their biggest test yet. On June 1, 2024, the peaceful town of Manila in central Burkina Faso suddenly found itself under attack. Terrorists targeted a key military position, hoping to catch the government off guard. But this time, things would be different. As soon as news of the attack reached military headquarters, they sprang into action. The Akinci drone, one of Burkina Faso's most advanced weapons, took to the skies. This wasn't just any drone. It could fly for hours and see things on the ground in amazing detail. The terrorists didn't know what hit them. They thought they had the upper hand. But the Akinci drone changed everything. From high above, it could see exactly where the attackers were and what they were doing. This information went straight to the soldiers on the ground, helping them make smart decisions quickly. As the fighting went on, the terrorists realized they were in trouble. They tried to run away, heading east towards the Serba River. But the Akinci drone was always watching. No matter how fast they moved or where they tried to hide, the drone kept track of them. The attackers got more desperate. They jumped on motorcycles thinking they could outrun the eye in the sky. But the Akinci wasn't fooled. It followed them all the way to the river, where the terrorists made their last attempt to escape. Leaving their bikes behind, the attackers jumped into boats hoping to cross the river and disappear. But even in the dark of night, they couldn't hide. The Akinci drone kept watching, using special cameras that could see in the dark. As the sun came up the next day, Burkina Faso's military was ready for the next phase. Helicopters flew in, bringing tough soldiers called commandos. These special forces worked together with the drones, searching every hiding spot for any terrorists who might have slipped away. To make sure they caught everyone, the military brought in another drone, the Bayraktar TB2. This drone joined the Akinci, making it even harder for any terrorists to escape. Together, these flying machines helped the soldiers on the ground do their job better and safer. The commander in charge of the operation was proud of how well everyone worked together. He said, "The men are really making enormous efforts on the ground so that peace can return to Burkina Faso. Despite the losses that we suffer, we fight with the assurance that the populations are behind us." This attack in Manila showed how much Burkina Faso's military had changed. Before, they struggled to protect people from terrorists. But now, with new technology like these drones, they could respond quickly and effectively to threats. The drones did more than just help during the fight. They also made it safer for the soldiers on the ground. By seeing where the dangers were, the military could make smart plans that kept more of their people safe while still stopping the bad guys. What happened in Manila was a big deal for Burkina Faso. It showed that the country's new strategy for fighting terrorism was working. The mix of high-tech drones in the sky and brave soldiers on the ground proved to be a winning combination. For the people of Burkina Faso, this successful operation brought hope. It showed that their country was getting stronger and better at protecting them. The terrorists who had caused so much fear for so long were now the ones running scared. The battle in Manila wasn't the end of Burkina Faso's fight against terrorism, but it was a clear sign that things were changing. With each operation like this, the country gets a little safer. The drones that once seemed like something from a science fiction movie are now a real part of keeping Burkina Faso secure. The successful operation in Manila was just the beginning. Burkina Faso's military wasn't going to stop there. They were determined to keep fighting until the terrorist threat was gone for good. So what happened next in this ongoing battle against extremist groups? After the Manila attack, Burkina Faso's armed forces stepped up their efforts. They started carrying out more operations, especially near the border with Mali. This area had been a problem for a long time, with terrorists crossing back and forth between countries. But now things were changing. The military sent in their best troops to handle these dangerous missions. The 41st and 42nd Regiments of Burkina Faso Commandos led the way. These soldiers are some of the toughest and best trained in the country. They also got help from the 9th Rapid Intervention Battalion, another elite group of fighters. These brave soldiers didn't just push the terrorists back. They also took away their weapons and tools. During their operations, they found and took lots of guns, bullets, and communication devices from the terrorists. This was a big deal because it made it harder for the bad guys to attack or talk to each other. But the fight wasn't just happening on the ground. Remember those drones we talked about earlier? They were a big part of these new operations too. The military used their Akinci drones to keep watch over large areas. These flying machines could see things that soldiers on the ground might miss. The drones were especially useful when terrorists tried to run away. No matter where they went, the drones could follow them. This made it much harder for the bad guys to hide or escape. Even in tough areas like Mohan, where the land makes it easy to hide, the drones kept watching. When terrorists tried to run, they faced another problem: the sky fighters. These are special planes that can attack targets on the ground. Working together with the drones, they made sure that fleeing terrorists had nowhere to go. All of this new technology and these tough soldiers made a big difference. The terrorist groups that had caused so much fear started to get weaker. They couldn't move around as easily, and they were losing their weapons and supplies. This made it harder for them to plan attacks or recruit new members. The people of Burkina Faso started to notice the change. They felt safer in their homes and towns. The constant fear of terrorist attacks began to lessen. For the first time in a long while, many people felt hopeful about the future. But the leaders of Burkina Faso knew the job wasn't finished yet. President Ibrahim Traoré even visited soldiers on the front lines to show his support. He wanted everyone to know that the country would keep fighting until all of Burkina Faso was safe. The ongoing fight against terrorism in Burkina Faso shows how much things have changed. With better weapons, new technology like drones, and brave soldiers, the country is pushing back against extremist groups. The terrorists who once seemed so strong are now the ones running away and hiding. There's still work to do, but Burkina Faso is on the right path. Each operation weakens the terrorist networks a little more. The country is getting safer step by step. And for the people of Burkina Faso, that means a chance at a peaceful future they've been hoping for a long time. Burkina Faso has come a long way since those dark days. The country has transformed its approach to security, and the results are clear. President Ibrahim Traoré's leadership has given people new hope. Let's look at how Burkina Faso has changed and what it means for the future. The military's new strategy is working. Terrorist attacks have decreased and more areas are now safe. People can go about their daily lives without constant fear. This change didn't happen overnight, but step by step, Burkina Faso is taking back control. President Traoré's visits to the front lines have boosted soldiers' morale. His hands-on approach shows he's serious about fixing the country's problems. The government's commitment to security has made people feel proud of their nation again. But the fight isn't over. Burkina Faso still faces challenges as it works to become fully secure. The country keeps improving its defenses and won't stop until all its people are safe.